Las Vegas Raiders face major concern. With Christian Wilkins' injury, there's significant concern brewing inside the Raiders organization, and it revolves around star defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. According to recent reports, Wilkins may miss time during the upcoming NFL season due to complications from a foot injury that hasn't fully healed. Let's rewind. Wilkins suffered a Jones fracture last season and was placed on injured reserve in Week 5. At the time, insiders noted he could have potentially returned if the Raiders were in playoff contention. But with the postseason out of reach, he remained sidelined to focus on recovery. Now, a report from NFL insider Tony Pauline reveals the recovery might not have gone as planned. Wilkins could require a second procedure on that same foot, which might force him to miss a significant portion of the 2025 season. That's not just a setback. It's a massive blow to a Raiders defense aiming to contend this year. The report goes further. If Las Vegas can't land standout running back Ashton Jeanty in the draft, the team could pivot to Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham or Missouri offensive tackle Armand Membou. But the Wilkins situation might tip the scales toward bolstering the defensive line, making Graham a more likely choice. From a financial standpoint, Wilkins carries a nearly $30 million cap hit. Losing that kind of presence on the field would be tough to overcome. His availability is crucial if the Raiders hope to compete in 2025. There were recent images of Wilkins participating in off-season workouts without a visible wrap or brace on the injured foot, but only a couple of those sessions were open to the media. That raises questions. Did something happen behind closed doors during training? Did the foot flare up again? If Wilkins misses time, the Raiders' depth on the defensive front takes a serious hit. He's under contract for 3 more seasons, and his health will play a major role in how this team performs moving forward. Should the Raiders draft Mason Graham or Kelvin Banks? If Christian Wilkins is sidelined for 8 weeks, does it make sense for the Raiders to draft a completely new defensive tackle to fill that gap, especially when Wilkins is locked in for the next 3 seasons? From a value perspective, that doesn't seem like the smartest move. Now, don't get me wrong. Mason Graham is a solid player. He's one of the top run defenders in this draft class, and he's got some upside. As a pass rusher, though, he's still a work in progress. He's not quite as polished as guys like Jalen Carter or Kayvon Thibodeau. But if the Raiders took him at pick number 6, I wouldn't be thrilled, but I wouldn't be upset either, depending on who else is available. Graham has a lot of potential, but he's not a finished product. If the Raiders draft him, it could signal that they're thinking long-term, and his development could be key. But would they pull the trigger on a defensive tackle at number 6? That's the big question, and we'll likely find out more about Wilkins' injury soon. The Raiders' draft strategy will become clearer after tomorrow's draft, and we'll likely hear from GM Dave Ziegler and head coach Josh McDaniels during their post-draft press conference. You can expect questions about Wilkins' foot injury, whether it's serious and if it's something that could affect his availability. One thing's clear, Tony Pauline isn't the type of insider to make things up. He's reported that Wilkins might need another procedure, and that's a very specific detail. It doesn't necessarily mean Wilkins will have surgery, but it adds a layer of concern to the situation. We'll see if we get any updates after the draft. Kelvin Banks, a potential pick at number 6? Now let's talk about another potential pick for the Raiders, Kelvin Banks. Todd McShay, a respected NFL analyst, believes Banks could be the right choice for the Raiders at pick number 6. But should the Raiders take him? There's been some debate, especially on social media, about whether Banks would be a good pick for the Raiders. Many people believe he projects better as a guard in the NFL rather than a tackle, and honestly, I tend to agree with that assessment. While Banks has solid potential, he struggles at times to anchor down against stronger pass rushers, though that's something that can be improved with development. If the Raiders pick Banks at number 6, it could indicate they're planning to move on from left tackle Colton Miller, especially considering that Banks is a natural left tackle. But even if they decide to switch him to right tackle, it might be a bit of a stretch for the 6th overall pick. You could probably get a comparable guard in the 2nd or 3rd round, so taking Banks here might not be the best value. This also suggests that if the Raiders do draft Banks, it could mean other offensive tackle options, like Armand Membou or Will Campbell, are off the board. Either way, it's a decision that'll have a big impact. On the direction of the Raiders' offensive line, should the Raiders consider a left tackle at number 6? It's hard to imagine the Raiders drafting a left tackle at pick number 6. If they were looking at a right tackle, that might make more sense. But when comparing left tackle prospects, Armin Mao seems to be the better option over Kelvin Banks. Peter Schrager believes the Raiders could be targeting Armin Mao, and I could see that. Rich Eisen has us taking Jalen Walker, but I'm not as high on him. I understand the potential and upside, but at some point, you need to prioritize the best tape and the best production, especially when it's more likely to translate to the NFL. Jalen Walker primarily plays linebacker, and I view linebacker as a system position. You can often find top-tier linebackers in later rounds. In many drafts, the best linebacker isn't even the first one taken. It could be the fourth or fifth guy off the board. So, while Walker has potential as an edge rusher, why not just draft a true edge player with the best tape? If Walker is truly seen as a linebacker, though, I get it. His versatility could be appealing to the Raiders as a Swiss Army knife type of player. Mason Graham and Walter Nolan. Defensive tackle options. Joel Klatt has the Raiders taking defensive tackle Mason Graham, especially if the Christian Wilkins injury turns out to be serious. Personally, I'm not sure if Graham will even be the first defensive tackle taken. There's been some buzz from Slick Rick, a well-known Twitter personality with a rapidly growing following, who has a solid track record of breaking news early. He predicted deals for players like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase before they were announced, and now he's saying that Walter Nolan could be a dark horse candidate to go in the top 10. I don't disagree with that assessment. After watching tape, I think Nolan could easily be the first defensive tackle selected. There's something about his quickness and the way he moves off the line that stands out. You can't teach movement like that. It's a natural trait that makes him different from other defensive tackles in this class. Even players like Jordan Davis and Christian Wilkins don't move as fluidly as Nolan. For a defensive tackle, movement is arguably the most important trait. Sure, you can improve hand technique, strength, and leverage, but you can't really teach a guy to move like Nolan. His ability to shift quickly off the line makes him a potential game changer. Slick Rick's prediction could be spot on, but if the Raiders are convinced Wilkins' injury is legit, I wouldn't be surprised if they lean toward Mason Graham. As for other potential picks, former Raiders GM Mike Mayock has Ashton Jeanty going to the Raiders, and I'm all for it. Jeanty is an excellent running back, and while running backs can have a huge impact on games, you've got to weigh the value of drafting one in the first round. Running back decisions and the Raiders draft strategy. When it comes to running backs like Ashton Jeanty, I get the appeal. Running backs can put up massive production and have great seasons, but the reality is their careers don't last as long as other positions, and their impact is typically shorter. We've seen this trend time and time again. Guys like Nick Chubb had a few really solid years, but have been less impactful recently. Not every running back is like Derrick Henry, who is an exception to the rule. I'm a fan of Ashton Jeanty and wouldn't hate the pick, but there are other running backs who could also give you 4 to 5 years of elite production, and you can typically find those guys in the second or third round. The key is drafting the right running back, one with solid tape. Take a guy who's proven himself, not just someone with upside like Zamir White, who was a questionable pick. Get a running back with proven production, and you'll get solid years out of him. The Giants and Commanders trade talks, potential impact on the Raiders. Slick Rick, a well-known insider with a strong track record, has also dropped some interesting information that could indirectly affect the Raiders. According to him, there have been trade talks between the Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. The Giants are looking to trade back into the first round to position themselves to draft a quarterback. This is crucial, because if the Raiders are sitting at pick 38 and a quarterback like ShedeurSanders is still on the board, why not take him? At pick 38, the value of developing a quarterback for a couple of years is huge. Some will argue that the Raiders should go for Sanders at pick 6, while others may disagree. But at pick 38, absolutely, I would pull the trigger on him. The Giants, with the 3rd overall pick, could be thinking along similar lines, drafting a top player like Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, and then looking to secure a quarterback in the 2nd round, either by trading up or at pick 38. What if the Raiders feel the same way about quarterbacks like Sanders or JacksonDart? The key here is that taking a quarterback in the 1st round gives you that valuable 5th-year option. If you wait until the 2nd round, you lose that, which could influence the Raiders' strategy. The Giants' interest in trading back into the 1st round could signal to the Raiders where they may need to act fast to secure a quarterback, potentially affecting their draft plans. Bears trade talks and impact on the Raiders' draft plans. There's also some buzz about other teams looking to trade up. Slick Rick has reported that the Bears have offered their 10th overall pick, along with 2 second-round picks to the Giants in an attempt to move up to the 3rd spot. The Bears hold 2 second-round picks, one around pick 39 and another in the 40s, just a few spots after the Raiders' pick. The Bears are reportedly trying to get in front of the Raiders and possibly land one of their desired targets. Initially, I thought they were trying to move up to draft a guy like Ashton Genty or Armin, but Slick Rick clarified that the Bears are actually focused on getting Abdul Carter, not Genty. This shift in focus is significant because it suggests that the Bears are looking to secure one of the top defensive prospects, possibly to pair with their rebuilding efforts. If the Bears do manage to move up, they'll likely grab one of those elite players, securing a foundational talent for the next decade. The Giants, on the other hand, might end up trading back to the 10th spot and could still find a quality quarterback, which adds an interesting wrinkle to the draft. There's a lot of movement in the rumor mill, with teams looking to either move up or down. The Raiders, too, are reportedly one of those teams considering moving back. While much of this is speculation, it's important to recognize that these discussions often don't lead anywhere. Teams might reach out to one another, and some reports may simply be leaked to test the waters and see if other teams are willing to make a move. Slick Rick's accuracy and insights. Slick Rick has proven to be a reliable insider over the last year, with multiple reports coming true days before being confirmed. His track record has earned him a solid following, and while no insider is perfect, the odds are high that his information is credible. However, sometimes things can change last minute, and trades or rumors might break apart at the final moment. That said, I trust the insights he's providing, especially when it comes to the Bears' potential move for Carter and the ripple effect it could have on the Raiders. Tom Brady's involvement in the Raiders' draft decision. In other news, there's a report that Tom Brady is playing a significant role in the Raiders' decision-making process regarding the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft. This adds another layer of intrigue to the Raiders' draft strategy. Brady's experience and insight could influence their final decision, especially considering the importance of this pick for the team's future. The draft is just around the corner, and things are really heating up. It'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out for the Raiders and whether some of these trade rumors come to fruition. Tom Brady's impact on the Raiders. For Raider fans, this news isn't exactly a surprise, but it's been trending on Twitter lately. Tom Brady isn't just working for Fox, he's also deeply involved with the Raiders. Some people may not realize the extent of Brady's influence, but it's clear that he has a significant impact on the team. He's in regular contact with Mark Davis, and his influence has shaped some of the key decisions made by the Raiders, from hiring Geno Smith and PeteCarroll to the firing of a successful general manager, and then replacing him with a new GM who Brady has worked with, and who some believe Brady may have some sway over. Brady's presence in the organization is undeniable. It seems the Raiders are on the right track, and we'll see tomorrow how it all plays out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and get ready for tomorrow. It's going to be a big day, and the Raiders are about to make some moves that will reshape the team's future.